presents Hancock and Kelley.
Good Sunday morning to you. Welcome to Hancock and Kelley on Fox 2, where we take on the top issues of the week. On the right, John Hancock.
It's a beautiful day.
It sure is. On the left, Michael Kelley.
Good morning, St. Louis.
I'm Andy Banker. On the agenda, Governor Parson sends Missouri National Guard troops to the southern border. Also, I interviewed Republican Congressman Mike Bost. There's at least one thing on which he agrees with President Biden. A St. Louis alderwoman has an idea for dealing with the city's reckless driving epidemic. Give offenders the boot. And our quote of the week, Kansas City's mayor accuses the governor of using a racist dog whistle after the Super Bowl parade mass shooting in Kansas City. Also, after President Trump's finish in last night's Republican primary in South Carolina, is it over for challenger Nikki Haley? Republican candidate for Missouri governor, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft sets off political alarm bells by slamming special treatment for veterans, and an Alabama Supreme Court raises eyebrows nationwide. The court rules that frozen human embryos may be people, children, in the eyes of the law. We begin with Republican Missouri Governor Mike Parson ordering Missouri National Guard troops to the U.S. border with Mexico and Texas. Governor Parson announced the deployment of up to 200 members of the National Guard and nearly 24 state highway patrol troopers in response to a request for support from Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott. Governor Parson says President Biden's reckless border policies are fueling a fentanyl crisis that is killing people, destroying families and communities in Missouri. But the flood of migrants entering the U.S. has now shifted from Texas to Arizona and mostly California. Is the governor doing the right thing here, John?
Yeah, and you know what's interesting here, Andy, is that what the governor of Texas has done, and he's had the support of a lot of other governors, is actually working at the border. Look at Eagle Pass. It had been overrun for months and months. They put the barbed wire fencing up, became very controversial. They've stopped the flow at that location.
So why do they need Missouri troops now is the question.
So that they can continue to keep the flow down. And I think governors are being supportive of this policy. And look, we've got a crisis down here. And I get the dysfunction in Washington. I understand all of that. But Joe Biden created this crisis. And it's continuing to this day. And they're shifting. We need to put the border under control. It's that simple.
Does Texas need Missouri's help? California may need it more right now.
Well, this is a giant charade, sending people down there for, to appease the Trump base. What Governor Parson should have done is dispatched his chief of staff or members of administration down to Mar-a-Lago to talk to the former president and say, how come when we had a bipartisan solution to fix this, you've gone and killed it? And instead, Governor Parson's, mumbling way through life, and now he's going to go out there and, play this charade for Donald Trump. It's just absolutely silly. And to say that Joe Biden is responsible for what's happening at our border, this has been going on for 30 years.
Not like
we
this.
had a solution on the table. And guess what? Donald Trump has killed it. The Republicans don't want to fix problems. They just want to run on sound bites.
The bill in Washington would have made a difference. I won't argue that. It would have made a difference, and I'm sorry it didn't pass. But make no mistake, this border was, whatever you want to say or think about Donald Trump, he did have the border under control much better than it's been. And now, and here's the problem. It's a big welcome sign, and then we're just inviting people to flood, and then we act surprised when they show up.
We got a lot of border talk here. And when you say welcome sign, Chicago's got the welcome sign up. Democrat Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, in a State of the State speech, he included his plan to raise taxes to pay for migrants now flooding Chicago, a Democrat sanctuary city. Republican State Rep Kevin Schmidt of Millstadt is blasting the governor, saying the taxpayer tab for taking in more than 35,000 migrants shipped to Illinois from the southern border so far is $2.5 billion and counting. Pritzker is calling for nearly $900 million in new tax hikes, for more than doubling the sports gaming tax to cutting deductions on personal income and corporate taxes. Your thoughts, Michael, about raising taxes on people in your own state in the middle of the country to pay for migrants being shipped to Chicago.
Yeah, it's really unnecessary. Had we passed the bipartisan bill, we would be addressing these issues. This tax increase isn't solely just for migrants. It's for a lot of programs that are going to be implemented potentially over in Illinois. But look, this is the ultimate reality of what we're facing in terms of having these open borders and refusing to come forward with a compromise. And that's what's so frustrating about it, Andy, is that we had something that could have made a difference. For the first time in the lives that we've all been living, we could have actually had comprehensive border reform, and instead we're kowtowing to a goofball down in Mar-a-Lago.
John?
Well, we had a college student, a nursing student in Georgia killed by an illegal migrant earlier this week. What they're doing in Illinois is J.B. Pritzker is driving, not encouraging, driving business out of that state. You're going to raise the corporate tax. You're going to cap deductibility. Illinois is becoming untenable if you want to be in private business, and raising taxes. Plus, Chicago's a sanctuary city. Let's start solving problems like that first before raising taxes and driving businesses out of the state. I don't know.
I live in a state of Missouri that's controlled 1,000% by the Republicans, and we continue to lose businesses. We're losing jobs in Missouri.
No, we're not.
Is it really partisan, or is it antiquated, backward policies?
Missouri's economy's done pretty well.
We're losing them in St. Louis. That's a different story.
Yes.
President Biden has ripped Congress for taking a couple of weeks off as the border crisis continues. I sat down with a Republican, Congressman Mike Bost, who represents a big part of the St. Louis area and who agrees with the president on this.
We should be in session. We should be in session right now. It's so much more that we need to get done. We got 12 budget bills we got to get done. We've got the border crisis that we need to deal with. We've got Ukraine funding, which I'm for Ukraine funding as long as we have oversight. I voted for the first two. I haven't voted for anyone ever since, and that's because we know that what we believe was for beans, bullets, and Band-Aids has been being abused.
Bost has just been endorsed by former President Trump in his re-election campaign. He's against the recent Senate border deal and Ukraine funding. He says he's not stalling on progress at the border just to keep the issue alive for Mr. Trump's run for the White House. He points out that the House passed a much tougher border bill, H.R. 2, long ago. Democrats are losing on the border issue, Michael. Isn't it time for them to give a little more to get a deal done?
They did. I don't know how much more they can
Well, they
give.
did in the Senate.
The fact of the matter is they could
the Senate said H.R. 2 is dead on arrival, just like the House did the other way.
Right, but the fact of the matter is they could take Donald Trump's policy of banning Muslims, banning people of color, holding people, just willy-nilly holding people at the border. They could implement all that tomorrow, and guess what? Or want to implement it all in a piece of legislation, and Donald Trump would kill it. This Mike Bost sounds too reasonable to be a part of the Trump coalition because he actually wants to get things done.
He blames his own party when you talk about whether they should be in session right now. Bost says, it took 3 weeks to get a new speaker after they booted the other one. He says that's on the Republicans, and he said that really cost them 11 to 12 weeks of actual lawmaking.
No question, and they should be in session. You've got a pending. Again, the debt ceiling limit is just around the corner. They're going to have to deal with that, probably with another continuing resolution. They've got to figure out a way to fund Ukraine. A majority of the members want to support Ukraine in that chamber. 70 senators voted for it. They need to figure that out. So there's a lot to do. And yeah, I do think they should be in session.
Another interview I did this week raised some eyebrows with St. Louis Alderwoman Cara Spencer about St. Louis's reckless driving epidemic. It was interrupted by blatant reckless driving. Spencer is introducing a new bill to lock up the wheels of reckless drivers with metal boots. Watch.
So what this does is disable the vehicle from being able to be driven in a manner that can kill someone. Look, cars are weapons when operated recklessly, and they are killing. We are allowing this to just run rampant.
No sooner had she said that than this happened. A man driving recklessly on an ATV and 3 more motorcycles roared by, running a red light and then dangerously circling cars, waiting for the light to change right there. That happens all the time in St. Louis. I see it not daily, but I've seen it 5 or 6 times in the last couple of months. Under Spencer's bill, offenders would have to pay $500 to get the boot taken off their wheels. The mayor and aldermanic president are instead calling for a return to red light cameras to mail tickets to offenders. John Spencer points out that blatant offenders ignore tickets, ignore court summons.
Of course they do.
They're not going to be locked up.
Of course they're not.
So what about red light cameras or the boot?
I think the boot's a good idea. I'm for the boot. Red light camera. Really? You've got stolen cars out there being driven like crazy. That's the red light camera's not going to solve that problem. Kids driving these ATVs and little tiny motor, whatever those things are. Where are they getting the money for that, by the way? And how are you going to find out who that is? They're not licensed. Red light cameras aren't going to do diddly squat. That's a technical term. And the boot's the way to go. Cara Spencer's right.
What do you think? Either one of them? What are more police on the streets? What?
Sure. I'm for everything.
But if you write tickets, is she right? These people aren't going to show up in court. They're not going to pay fines.
Right. Right, and then, look, and the big hang-up here is the mayor and the president of the Board of Aldermen are ultimately saying, well, we're going to be targeting these poor criminals, and what are they going to be able to do? And that's just the real problem that we've got, Andy, is everybody wants to think about the bad actor other than the person who's paying the taxes. And we continue to watch this. It's kind of like a parent who hasn't been kind of telling their child, hey, yes, you need to say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, please, thank you, etc. And then all of a sudden they grow up and they act a fool. We're living with the consequences of 3 or 4 years of saying, look, it's okay that you've got all these issues. Go out and do whatever you want. And as a result, we're all seeing these little ATVs. We're all seeing this nonsense in our neighborhoods.
Consequences is the key word. You got to have consequences when you act a fool.
Up next, what have we learned from last night's South Carolina presidential primary? Donald Trump wins again, and a top candidate for Missouri governor says good government does not include special deals for military vets.